Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch another chilly morning. Had a good solid freeze last night, but we're still within that window of time period here in the Ozarks where that can happen. But by this weekend, I think Saturday, Sunday, something like that, we're supposed to be back up in the 70s. It's just how it goes around here. It's that time of the year. So if you live here, don't jump the gun on planting just yet. I know it's been warm and things are greening up and you just feel like it's time to get out there and start planting the garden. There are a few things, like you can put some potatoes in the ground. There's a few things that you could do, but don't get bamboozled by the warm spells that we have and think that it's time to go out there and plant your garden. It's too early. I know you want to. I want to. I want to get out there and just get going in that dirt, but it's not time yet. Patience, grasshopper. This whole bridge thing in Baltimore got a lot of people talking, and a lot of, even within our circle, like the preparedness, conservative, whatever you want to call it, I don't know. It's got to be some label out there to put on it. They put labels on everything anymore, but whatever. There's a lot of disagreements. I've seen some pretty heated debates and discussions over that this was an accident versus this was some type of attack. You know, I don't know, you don't know, and the people that are saying all these things don't know. It's in my opinion, which means nothing. It looks very suspicious. I mean, I get it. I've read all that I can about how it's you know, this is why it looks like it was just an accident. But in the end, the whole basis of it being an accident is that the captain or whoever was running the ship at the time said that they lost control. That's what they keep saying. Yeah, but they said they lost control. Well, sure, but why did they lose control? Was there some type of sabotage? Was there, who knows? But honestly, at this point, I don't know that it matters too much. Because what's done is done, you know? I mean, the only reason that it would matter is to find out if someone is, you know, committing some act of sabotage, terrorism against us, which honestly shouldn't come as much surprise considering what's all going on in the world today. I think the bigger picture is the damage that it's done. There's, you know, that port isn't the biggest, but it's in the top 10 of the biggest ports in the United States, and it does, you know, a lot of import and export stuff in and out of that port. It does cover a lot, and just, you know, within hours after the bridge collapsing, you could see dozens of ships out at sea lining up, trying to figure out, you know, are we going to be able to make it in? What do we do? Where do we reroute to? This looks very similar in some ways to other things that we've seen in the past, where the ports on the West Coast, remember there in LA, that area, where they were just for months backed up, backlogged, you know, dozens, sometimes over 100 ships were just sitting out in the ocean, just waiting to figure out where they can offload their cargo. This also, in my opinion, feels very similar to the whole Suez Canal thing 3 years ago. If you remember, I know that's 3 years is a long time ago, and we have such a short attention span anymore, and so many things has gone on, and we can't hardly remember what happened a year ago. But 3 years ago, we had the Suez Canal, the stuck ship. Remember, it got stuck, and it was costing millions and millions of dollars a day. Of course, they finally got it unstuck, and shipping continued through there. But, and maybe I'm going way too far down the whole rabbit hole of conspiracy theories. Maybe my tinfoil hat's a little too tight this morning. But I kind of felt like that whole Suez Canal was almost a symbolic act that kicked off a lot of things. If you remember, it wasn't that long after that we started having all of these supply chain problems. We started having, you know, ships that were setting out in the ocean. We started having, you know, that's when the factories and the you know, chicken factories and the warehouses and stuff started having problems and burning, and all kinds of things were going on after that. And maybe it's not true, but it really felt like that was kind of a symbolic act that kind of triggered things to kind of start going. And in a lot of ways, I feel like that this ship and bridge thing in Baltimore kind of feels the same way. I mean, time will tell if in the next days and weeks nothing else happens and everything just goes back to normal, whatever that is anymore. Then I guess I'm wrong. But I think it's something that we should, you know, have a little bit of a wake-up call. We've been focused so much on, you know, grid attacks and cyber attacks, because that's been talked about a lot. We've been focused on, you know, all the illegals coming across the border, World War III, Russia, NATO, Ukraine, all, you know, Taiwan, China, all that kind of stuff, which of course it's worthy of being focused on. But supply chain things have kind of taken to the back burner for a while. You know, there for a good year, close to 2 years or so, that was the central focus of all of this collapse and great reset and everything, was the supply chain. And that's kind of taken, you know, a back burner. Most people have kind of not really forgotten, but not thinking about it. And it's because in appearance, the supply chain has improved. Let's just put it that way. It's improved. I mean, it's not as bad as it was at the peak, but it's certainly not back to normal again, whatever that is. Food prices on the low end are 25 to 40% higher than they were 3 years ago. We're watching, you know, certain particular items skyrocket. We're watching shortages happen periodically in various areas. Some can be explained, some cannot. And shipping prices have continued to go up. And with this, it's probably going to affect it even more. There's already warnings from Bloomberg and other sources that, you know, this is going to cause disruptions in the shipping industry. This is going to cause disruptions and increase of cost of shipping and goods and all that kind of stuff. And so I think it's something that we need to brace ourselves for. You should be taking advantage of the moments that we have now and going out and stocking up. I mean, if you're capable of making a planned trip to the grocery store over the next few days and topping off things, you know, it's possible that some of you have been doing a very diligent job of staying on top of your food preps. But in my experience, most people will go out there and put a lot of effort into it for a while because of something that's happened, and they think that it's going to get bad, and then they back off. They slack off and they stop, or they slow down quite a bit. So it's possible that some of you have fallen into that you've kind of slacked off of your food preps. You've gotten into them. You're not as topped off as you need to be. And so I would strongly encourage you to reevaluate that and top off. If you're looking for emergency food, this kind of stuff that will sit on the shelf for 25 years and still be good to eat, there's a link in the description below. It's not the cheapest stuff. I'm promoting a new one. And the reason is the old one, My Patriot Supply, is now pretty much everything they put has GMO and bioengineered food products in it. I mean, if you still want to buy that just because it's the cheapest out there, you're welcome to. But if you want to make sure that you're putting some healthier stuff that has no preservatives and MSG and all that kind of stuff, there's a Valley Foods link down below. It is more money. It's not certainly the real expensive stuff, but it is more money, but it's a really high quality product. And so it's something to think about stocking up on. But I would certainly be looking into what I need to be stocking up on. What, you know, and it may not always be food. You know, I've advocated auto parts. Now, I don't know that port, at least from what I understand, I don't think that it's a big auto parts port. But as we've seen in the past, just because that one thing happened at that one port does not mean it won't start having a cascade effect on other ports. So I would not just see, okay, well, these items are what comes out of that port, so that's only what I'll stock up on. I don't think that that's a good idea. I think you should just, you know, start putting effort into topping things off. So if it's auto parts, if it's medical supplies, if it's food, other tools, seeds, things like that. This is something I've been telling you to do for a while anyways. And this should be kind of a wake-up call. Because if this is some purposeful act, then we're 100% in a state of war. Okay? I mean, I believe we are anyways. I believe we have been for a long time. But and that may be why they're, you know, if it did happen intentionally, that's obviously why they're trying to hold back from saying that, because it would definitely be that we are in a state of war if that's what happened. Now, like I said, over the next days and weeks, if nothing else happens, if they're able to clear the debris and shipping goes back to normal, then maybe we'll know. But we certainly need to be on our toes on this one. It's a major event. I mean, at least 6 lives have been lost because of it. Hundreds of millions of dollars in damage. I mean, for whatever reason, Joe Biden says that the federal government, which means you and I, are going to pay for it. I mean, you would think that there's insurances and the ship company and all that kind of stuff should probably have to cough up some money for it, but who knows? He also said that he rode a train across the bridge, and there's no train on that bridge, so it's crazy, Joe. But going back to the point, yeah, I think that this is an inflection point. Okay, I think it's something that should wake us up and realize that, okay, I think we're back in the game of supply chain issues, of just disruptions to our, you know, our whole system, whether it's, you know, a water supply system or a grid system, supply chain, shipping, all of that. Those are all major disruptions and acts of war. They really are. And in the time that we live in, I think it's foolish to just disregard it as an accident just because, you know, the pilot of the ship said, oh, well, we lost control and that's why it happened. And maybe it is simple that. I'm not saying that I can guarantee you that it wasn't an accident. I'm just saying that with everything that's going on in the world today, I think it would be foolish to just disregard it as nothing and go about your business as normal. Whether it's an accident or not, it's going to disrupt things. And if we start seeing other things happen over the next days and weeks, then I think we have a pretty good idea of what's going on, and you need to be prepared for that. It's time to get your houses in order, folks, and be preparing mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.